In this video, I will show you an easy trick that you can use to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit in your head without using a calculator. So, at some point in school, you probably encountered this formula right here, which says if you're given a value in Celsius, so C, to convert it to Fahrenheit, or F in this formula, here's what you do. Take the Celsius value and multiply it by 9 divided by 5, and then add 32. Now, when you multiply a number by 9 divided by 5, 9 divided by 5 as a decimal is 1.8. So we could rewrite this equation as Fahrenheit is equal to Celsius times 1.8 plus 32. Now, typically when you want to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, it's kind of hard to do that in your head because multiplying by 1.8 is a weird number to multiply by. But there's a trick that you can use to multiply by 1.8. It turns out that when you multiply a number by 1.8, that's the same as doubling the number and then taking away 10%. So to prove that, suppose that we're given a Celsius value of 10. 10 times 1.8, that turns out to be 18. But another way to get this same answer is to take 10 and double it, so multiply it by 2, which is 20, and then take away 10% from this answer right here. So 10% of 20, to figure that out, just imagine the decimal point is right here, move it once to the left. So we'll be right here. So 10% of 20 is 2.0, or just 2. So if you subtract 10%, you get 20 minus 2, which is also 18. So that's why multiplying a value by 1.8 is the same as doubling it and then taking away 10%. So a shortcut formula we can use is Fahrenheit is equal to Celsius doubled, so times 2, minus 10% of that value, and then we still have to add 32 at the very end. So let's check out a few examples of how we can use this shortcut formula to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. Alright, so I've rewritten our shortcut formula that we just found. Let's check out a few examples of how to use it. This first example says convert 20 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So here's what we can say. Fahrenheit is going to be equal to 20, so we're going to plug in a 20 right here for Celsius times 2. 20 times 2 is 40, minus, we have to subtract 10% of 40. So if we imagine our decimal point is right here, move it once to the left to make it right here. So 10% of 40 is just 4. So we'll subtract 4, and then we still have to add 32. So we get 40 minus 4 is 36. 36 plus 32 is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And I should also mention that this formula is not an estimate. This gives you the exact answer. So 20 degrees Celsius in terms of Fahrenheit is exactly 68 degrees Fahrenheit. So this formula gives you an exact answer. It is not an estimate. All right, let's check out the second example. Convert 35 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So we'll say Fahrenheit is equal to, we'll plug in a 35 right here. So 35 times 2 is 70. And then we subtract 10% of 70. So 10% of 70 is 7. And then we still have to add 32. So we get 70 minus 7 is 63. 63 plus 32 is 95. So 35 degrees Celsius is equal to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. And let's check out our very last example. Convert 14 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So let's use our formula once again. Fahrenheit is equal to, we'll plug in a 14 for Celsius. So 14 times 2, that's 28. And then we have to subtract 10% of 28. So remember, if the decimal point is right here, move it once to the left. So 10% of 28 is 2.8. So we'll have 28 minus 2.8, and then we still have to add 32. So 28 minus 2.8, this turns out to be 25.2. And then we have 25.2 plus 32, that is 57.2. And we'll say Fahrenheit. So 14 degrees Celsius is equal to 57.2 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is just an easy trick that you can use to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit.